When it rains, it pours. This is the only way to describe Duke basketball's recruiting prowess this season. From Cooper Flagg to 2&quot, there are just too many stars. Sure, every top recruit has a story. Most can rattle off the support systems, training programs, and mentors who helped pave their way to the top. But there's one player who didn't follow that script, a player whose journey breaks the mold entirely. This isn't your typical tale of elite coaching and non-stop resources. No, this guy took a totally different path. Kamon Malawach stands at 7'2" and weighs 250 pounds. This young player doesn't just stand out because he's sensational or has been projected as the number 3 NBA pick for 2025. It's the fact that this guy got here by managing to defy nearly impossible odds. His story is not the type you hear every day. In fact, BBC Africa headlined it, "From refugee to next big thing." You didn't hear that wrong. He lived in a refugee town. Born in 2006 in Rumbek, South Sudan, Malawach's life was upended almost from the start. Civil unrest forced his family to flee their home, seeking refuge in a small, crowded town in neighboring Uganda. Life was tough. The odds stacked against him, but one ordinary day changed everything. He's walking home from school, just another day, or so he thought. Little did he know, a chance encounter was about to alter his life's trajectory forever. Malawach remembers a local coach telling him, "You should start playing basketball. I can get you shoes, I can get you the ball." That was all the encouragement he needed. But this wasn't going to be easy for a 13-year-old kid in a refugee town. At that age, he was already a shoe size 14, and finding shoes his size was no small feat. So what did he do? He played his first game in a pair of Crocs. And as if things weren't challenging enough, the nearest public basketball court was an hour-long walk from his home. And when he finally got there, it was packed, and basketballs were scarce. But none of these things deterred the ambitious teenager. Right after his first game, the local coaches Wal Deng and Akech Garang were hooked. Deng told BBC Sports Africa in an interview, "The first time I saw Kamon, I saw so much potential. I knew he was going to develop and become a better player. I told Akech this kid would be the next big thing." Well, coach, you were spot on. It was obvious Malawach enjoyed the game and believed in himself. In addition to his regular training with local coaches, he improved his skills by watching YouTube videos of NBA MVPs Giannis and Joel Embiid. Malawach wasn't just putting in work on the court. He was pulling what he called the night shift with his brother. He'd stay up until midnight to purchase mobile data at a cheaper rate so he could have more viewing hours. He studied every move, every angle, learning Giannis's deadly jab step and Joel's smooth shimmy right from his tiny screen. But these videos didn't just sharpen his skills, they fueled his dream. Watching these players, he knew one day he'd get his big break too. Barely 2 years after his first basketball game, Malawach was invited to a tryout by the NBA Academy Africa, and that was the beginning of his "the rest is history" story. He was offered a scholarship by the academy and his coach encouraged him to take it. Malawach stated that one of the reasons he accepted the scholarship was because it afforded him the opportunity to finally get a good education. His rise began in the Basketball Africa League, where he made his debut in the 2022 season as part of the BAL Elevate program. As an NBA Academy Africa player, Malawach was assigned to Cobra Sport, a South Sudanese professional team on an amateur contract. His inaugural BAL game came against defending champion Zamalek, where he scored 2 points and grabbed 2 rebounds in 7 minutes. But these were modest numbers compared to the impact he would make in subsequent seasons. In March 2023, he was drafted first among academy prospects by IS Duke&apos, the reigning Senegalese champions. Malawach's second BAL season saw him as the starting center in the championship game against Al Ahly Libya. Then the recognition and opportunities beyond the African continent started to come in. He attended the 2023 Basketball Without Borders camp in Johannesburg, South Africa, and was named the camp's MVP. This led to his selection by the Ugandan club City Oilers for the 2024 BAL season. His debut with the Oilers was nothing short of impressive, scoring 16 points and securing 8 rebounds in a loss to Al Ahly Libya. He followed this up with 29 points and 11 rebounds against Bangui, proving that he could dominate the games on both ends of the floor. And then came his defensive showcase, a performance for the books. In a tough loss to Al Ahly Libya, Malawach exploded onto the scene, racking up 16 points, 19 rebounds, and a record-breaking 7 blocks. Even though the Oilers were knocked out, Malawacz left his mark with a monstrous stat line, averaging 17.5 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 2.8 blocks per game across 6 games. This guy wasn't just playing, he was making a statement. At 16 years old, he became the youngest player on the South Sudan national team's roster for the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup. His debut against China marked him as the 3rd youngest player to ever appear in a World Cup game. Malawacz's contributions helped South Sudan become the top-ranked African team in the tournament, securing a historic qualification for the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. Wondering how this youngster raked in all these accolades? He's got a well-developed low-post game that makes him nearly immovable in the post. Malawacz effectively establishes position, presents a target for his guards, and finishes with ease. His repertoire includes jump hooks, lob finishes, and counter moves, making him a formidable force in the paint. What sets him apart, however, is his legitimate face-up ability. He's comfortable shooting threes, and while consistency is still a work in progress, his shooting potential is undeniable. On March 6, 2024, Malawacz committed to Duke. This young phenom had scouts lining up around the block. Schools like Kansas, Kentucky, and UCLA were all after him. And it didn't stop there. Malawacz also had offers from the G League Ignite and Australia's NBA Next Stars program. So, why Duke? In his own words, it was all about the legacy. Back home, his cousins might not know the name Duke, but mention Zion Williamson, and everyone's eyes light up. It was the level of impact that sold him. Plus, he wanted a coach he could trust, someone who could be in his corner. And in Jon Scheyer, he found exactly that. ESPN's projected number 3 pick for the 2025 draft, Malawacz has landed on a stacked Duke squad under coach Jon Scheyer, a roster that's turning heads all across the basketball world. Joining Malawacz is the projected number 1 pick phenom Cooper Flagg, along with other top talents like Isaiah Evans, Patrick Gongba, Con Knippel, and Darren Harris. This recruiting class isn't just impressive, it's a lineup that has fans buzzing with anticipation and opponents bracing themselves for a showdown. Coach Scheyer has assembled an army, and with Malawacz in the mix, Duke is officially a powerhouse ready to dominate. Malawacz got to test his skills against his future teammates, Flagg, Evans, and Gongba, during an exhibition game against Team USA. In just 12 minutes of play, Malawacz scored 7 points on 3 of 4 shooting, including 1 of 1 from beyond the arc. He also snagged up 3 rebounds and sent 1 shot packing with a block. Sure, the team came up short in the game, but Malawacz showed everyone exactly why he's a future star in the making. With his arrival at Duke, headlines are already popping, hinting at the added advantage this guy brings to the already star-studded Blue Devil roster. As expected, the question is, how will he complement the team, particularly Cooper Flagg? Here's what we think. As this dynamic duo develops, the sky's the limit for Malawacz and Flagg. Together, they're set to form one of the most fearsome partnerships in college basketball. Malawacz's elite rim protection and defensive versatility will perfectly complement Flagg's smooth offensive game and relentless defensive pressure. And don't think Coach Scheyer isn't noticing the defensive chops. He's all about that rim protection. At 7'2" with a jaw-dropping 7'6" wingspan, Malawacz is an absolute menace in the paint, swatting shots and shutting down any attempt to score inside. But here's the kicker. He's not just a defensive wall. His developing three-point shot stretches the floor and creates space for his team. Malawacz is the complete package, and with Flagg by his side, they're poised to dominate on both ends of the court. Flagg's explosive athleticism and playmaking vision will benefit greatly from Malawacz's defensive anchor. As a versatile scorer, Flagg can focus on creating for himself and others, knowing Malawacz has his back on defense. The duo's contrasting skills will create matchup nightmares for opponents. Although he's still developing, Malawacz's raw talent and potential will do very well alongside Flagg's polished game. To get a better understanding, Kaman's debut for the Blue Devils is a good case study of what to expect as the season begins. Malawacz's performance in the game against Lincoln was a promising debut, filled with flashes of brilliance even if his offense wasn't firing on all cylinders. In just 20 minutes of play, he put up 4 points, hauled in 11 rebounds, and blocked 2 shots, showing off his all-around game. What really stood out, though, was his end-to-end speed. This guy can move. He also wasn't afraid to step behind the arc, taking a smooth three-pointer, a sign of his growing offensive confidence. But it wasn't just his hustle or the long-range attempt. His feel for the game was on full display, especially when working off screens and operating in the high post. The potential is there. He absolutely excelled on the offensive glass, grabbing 6 rebounds. While not the primary offensive option, his ability to adapt to matchups is crucial. Defensively, his 2 blocks showcased great timing, elite size, and athleticism, allowing him to control the interior. He aggressively challenges shots, grabs rebounds, and quickly initiates transition play. Malowacz is just scratching the surface of what he can do, and under Coach Shire's guidance, the sky's the limit for this kid. His mobility as a help defender is absolutely stellar, able to contest shots without ever putting himself in foul trouble. And his quick decision-making and hand-eye coordination, they're top tier, allowing him to be a constant disruptor on both ends of the floor. With one of the highest upsides in the entire 2025 draft class, Malowacz is poised to make a huge splash at Duke. As his game continues to develop, especially with Coach Shire's system giving him the freedom to grow, expect him to become a dominant force on defense while his offensive game keeps evolving into something special. This is a player who's ready to make waves, and we're just getting a taste of what's to come. So, what do you think about this rising star? How do you see his role shaping up this season? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're all in for an exciting ride with Malowacz at Duke.